Hi, and welcome to another lesson. So today we are going to be doing about the environment, and particularly plastic pollution. So our oceans are full of life. They're vital to humans. Just can't express how important the oceans are to humans living, but also to biodiversity and to the earth thriving as well. Unfortunately, over time, as humans have evolved, we've grown a dependency on using plastic. And a lot of that plastic doesn't break down and it ends up in our seas and oceans, and can cause real problems for animals and wildlife who swallow it or get caught up in it. So today we're going to create a game that highlights some of that problem. So if I just share my screen to show you what we're going to try and make today. So this is the game that we're going to try and make. If I hit the green flag, the game starts, and wherever I click on the screen to the side with my mouse, it moves to that side, and you can see all these objects falling through the ocean. And each time I eat a fish, which are good for me, my health goes up. But if I hit a piece of plastic, my health drops, and if I go to less than 0 health, the game stops and ends. So the idea is obviously you've got to keep your shark away from all those bits of plastic and debris and horribleness. So let's get on with actually trying to make this. If I just close this. Okay, so now that I'm in Scratch, I'm going to click on my username at the top and click on my class. Now that I'm in the class, I'm going to click on right clicks in the studios now. The teacher resources is just moved to the right. We've got a few other ones there. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to load up this Shark Saver starter. So I'm going to click on that now. I've then got the option, the green button at the top that says remix. Click on that. So first thing I do, and this is a good indication if you're properly logged in, is being able to actually change the name of it. So at the top here, it says Shark Saver. I'm just going to put prof code on the end. You can put the letter for your, so if you were CMP R2015A or whatever, you could put A on the end, whatever it is, just something so that it's yours. If you can't change that, it often means that you're not logged in, and if you go File, you might not have the Save Now option. So it's really good to check at this point before you've done loads of work. If you are like that, just hit the refresh on the page, and you might need to go back into the class and load up that starter truck project. But you will, if you do that, you'll have to sign in first. Okay. So we've got a project open. We've got, you can see just a plain blue kind of sea background. We've got our shark, and we've got some plastic here. Now on the plastic, we go to costumes. You can see that the plastic itself has got some different costumes. So we've got a plastic bottle. We've got those kind of the little kind of circular wraps that go around tins and things that you might buy from the supermarket. We've got plastic bag, and we've got a crisp wrapper. Okay, so we've got different objects that could end up in the sea, and it just makes it a bit more interesting rather than having the same object. So they're all set for you. I'm going to go back to code. We've now got no code on there, so we need to make a start at adding our own code. And the first thing that we're going to do is make sure that the shark is in the right place when the game starts. So our game starts when the green flag is clicked. So let's start by putting that in. When the green flag is clicked, zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. And just be careful. I've clicked on the shark here, and he's got the blue bit around him. Just make sure you are actually working on a shark and not the plastic or the stage or something like that for now. So I'm on the shark. When the green flag is clicked, what I want to do is make sure that he starts down at the bottom of the screen. He hasn't actually disappeared off the screen for some reason, or been dragged or moved by mistake. So if I hit motion, I'm going to go to his starting position. And his starting position, if you haven't changed anything on the game yet, it should say 0 and minus 120. So X is 0, Y is minus 120. Leave that as it is. If it's anything different, just change it so that X is 0 and Y is minus 120. So then what we're going to do is we are going to do a forever loop. So all the way through the game, we want him to move. And what I want him to move is when you've clicked on the screen, whether it's your finger pressing if you're on a tablet, or whether you're using a mouse and clicking on the screen, we want him to go towards where your click is on the screen. Okay, so we're going to say if, we're going to detect that click of the mouse, that mouse being, it's called mouse down. And that is a sense. So we're going to go to the light blue sensing one. And we should see about halfway down, there's one that says mouse down question mark. So we're going to say if the mouse is down, we're going to do something. And what we're going to do is we're going to say if the mouse is further to the right of the screen, then we're going to go to the right. And if the mouse is to the left of the screen, then we're going to go left. And we're going to use coordinates. So going left and right, we're changing the horizontal coordinate. Now on the screen or on anything, the horizontal coordinates that are the X coordinates, up and down are Y. So we're going to be doing something with X. So it's all to do with greater than and less than. So to start with, let's do a less than. Ooh. Sorry, I've missed a step out here. I need to put another if in here. So we're going to say if the mouse is down, we're going to say if it's start off if the mouse position is less than the X. So the mouse is further to the left of the shark, then we're going to move. So we need to get that less than symbol. I've got in that other if. So I've got if and another if inside it. And we've got two bits we need to detect now. So we need to detect where the mouse is. So we're going to go to sensing. And again, where that mouse down was, just below it, you've got mouse X and mouse Y. And it's the mouse X we need. So I'm going to put that in the first one. So if the coordinate of mouse X is less than, so i.e. it's further over to the left of the screen, than the position, and we need the position of the actual shark now, which is, we go up to motion, and you need to scroll down a little bit. You'll see at the bottom of that, you've got another variable down there for X position, which says the X position of the shark. So if it's to that side of the shark, then it moves to the side. And if it's, we need to do another one in a minute that says if the X position of the mouse is greater than it, it goes the other way. So let's say what it does. So it's going to change our X coordinate. So we're still in motion, the blue one, looking for the one that says change, not set, change X by. And if I want to move to the left, that number is going to get smaller. So I need to do minus 10. And if I was going to go to the right, it would be adding 10. So we'll come on to that in a second. And then the final bit is on the shark costume, we've actually got, it's got some different costumes there to show it looking like it's moving, like it's swimming. So we're going to, at this point, we're going to change its costume. So we go to the purple looks, this is how it looks. And we're going to go to next costume. So it basically, it just keeps on alternating the costume. Now what we want to do is we need to do exactly the same thing, but if the mouse position is on the other side of the shark, so to the right of it, we want the X position to get bigger. And we can actually cheat a little bit here. I can right click. So the bit I want to duplicate is this bit here. Okay, so this if that says if the mouse X is less than. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to do duplicate. I'm going to then pop that below the other if. So you can see that I've got one if that goes and stops there, and then other if that goes and stops here. Now there's a couple of things we need to change. I need to change the X to 10, not minus 10, because you want it to move to a greater X coordinate, so it needs to go up. But we also need to change this symbol here from being, if the mouse X is less than the position, to being greater than. So I'm going to operators, and I'm going to choose a greater than symbol. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to move these two blue, the mouse X and mouse Y out. And then I'm going to drag that over because I don't need it anymore and put that one back in its place. So I just swapped everything out. If you need to, rewind this little bit of the video and watch it again just to see what I did, because you can kind of pause it and check it over again. Okay. So just out of safety and stuff at this point, I'm going to hit File and Save Now just to make sure that it's saving everything and so on. So let's do the next part of this game, which is to add the plastic coming down the screen that we've got to avoid. Okay. So I'm going to click on the plastic sprite, which at the moment is on my wrapper. It might be a bottle for you. It doesn't really matter. It's the one that represents the plastic. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the game. So when the green flag is clicked, the game starts. We want the plastic to start at the very top of the screen. So we're going to make sure that we're going to change it, go to X. So let's get the go to X and Y. So we're going to go to X0, but we're going to go Y 200. So it's really nice near the top. And at the very start of the game, we're going to hide it. Okay, we don't want it to show straight away. We want it to wait a little bit of time and then actually appear and keep on appearing. Okay, and we're going to create clones of them. And that happens all the way through the game, so it's going to be forever. And what we want to do is forever, we're going to create a clone of itself. So it's going to create a clone, do something with it, then it's going to create another clone, do something with it, and so on. So let's create that clone. So let's create a clone of myself. And we don't want it to create another clone straight away, otherwise we're going to have 100 of these things all over the place. So we need to wait before it creates the next one. So I'm going to wait, not wait until, sorry, let's go back up to the top of the control ones, just above the repeat, it says wait. It starts off as 1 second, but we want it to be a random amount of time. So we're going to go to operators and choose pick random 1 to 5 seconds maybe. Okay, so we'll create a clone, wait, and then it'll create another clone and wait and so on. So that's that part here. Now, we're going to add another bit of a block on here. So that does the actual process of creating the clone. What we want the plastic to do happens each item when it starts as a clone. So I need to go back to control and get this when I start as a clone. So it means that when it's made, when this kind of clone, this copy of the piece of plastic is made, what does it need to do? Now, the first thing it needs to do is it needs to show. It also needs to pick a random one of those 4 plastic items, because we want it to be sometimes the little plastic rings, sometimes a wrapper, sometimes a bottle, so on. So it needs to pick to kind of switch to one of those random ones. So we're going to switch to, again, and then look, switch costume to. And it starts off with this kind of rounded one with the arrow, and I could choose one from there, but what I want to do is pick something at random. So I'm going to go pick random, and we've only got 4 items, so I can't do 1 to 10, it needs to be 1 to 4, because number 4 is the maximum. And then finally, what I need to do is always start them at the very top, but we need to pick a random place along the top to actually start it. So it needs to be up at the top. So our Y coordinate is going to be always the same, but the X where it starts is going to be different. So again, we need a bit of random in here, but we can do it in this go to X and Y. We said X is going to be 200, so Y is going to be 200. So the Y is going to be where it starts at the top of the screen, and then X is going to be a random number. And we're going to start from anywhere from towards the left of the screen or towards the right. So we're going to go from minus 200 up to plus 200. So or just 200. We don't need the plus symbol. Okay, remember on computer screen, 0 is the center. So minus 200 will be to that side, and then 200 will be to the right-hand side. So then what we're going to do is we're going to, each variable is going to have its own speed. So rather than all falling at the same speed, we're going to have them fall or move through the ocean at different speed, which just adds a little bit of kind of fun to the game, makes it a little bit more interesting. So I need to go to variables because the speed needs to be there, so which we've got. So you can see there, I've got a variable already created called speed. But what we need to do is under this when I started the clone, we've got the go to X bit. So I need to set that speed. So I'm going to need set, not health or whatever else might be selected. You need to make sure that says speed. And again, we're going to pick a random number. So lots of random numbers being used here, which is great. Get used to using that feature. Go back to the green operators one, bring over pick random, and now it's moving down the screen, so that the Y position is going to get lower, so it's going to be minus speed, so it's going to be -1 to -10, okay, because we need to be taking away from the X coordinate in a minute, so that speed needs to be minus. And then the final bit is that we're going to keep on going, so it's going to repeat, going to keep on falling until it gets to the bottom of the screen. Okay, so we'll go repeat. Oh, no, so not repeat. Sorry, repeat until. And it's going to go, so Y position's getting less, the numbers, so 200, maybe it's 140, maybe 100, then it gets to 50, 20, and so on, goes down, then it goes -20, -40, and so on. The very bottom of the screen, we're going to say is -180. So when it gets to -180 at the bottom, we need to basically kind of stop it and reset it. So we've got a green Y position is less than -180. So if that number gets too low, and we need to detect, so again, we're still on the plastic, so in motion, we're going to detect its Y position. Where is it on the screen? So if that Y position is less than -180, that's when we stop doing. So all of this stuff in here is going to keep on happening until that point. And what's going to happen is we're going to change the Y position. So we're on motion, we've just got the Y position. Just above it, you'll see change Y by. So it's going to change Y by the number that was picked for the speed. Okay, so we're going to go back to variables, and we're going to put speed in there. But what we need to do is, if we do that now, -10 speed is going to be really, really quick, and so on. So what we need to do is just put a little tiny weight in there. I'm going to go to control and grab this weight one. Now we don't want 1 second in between. We want it to be a tiny bit. So, and this number here can be a decimal. So if it's going to be smaller than 1, it's going to be 0. And for this, I'm going to choose 0.1. So it's 1/10 of a second. It's really small, but it just creates that little bit slower. Okay. And then the final thing is, so it keeps on doing that until it gets to the bottom of the screen. And then the final thing we need to do is we need to delete the clone. So back in control, very bottom one here says delete this clone. So I'm going to pop that over and put that at the bottom there. So we should now have items that appear at the top, start falling. You can see they're falling at different speeds. Get to the bottom, it's disappeared. Got another one coming in here, which has picked a different object. So you can see they're all falling at different speeds, and they're all coming down at different places on the screen, which is absolutely ideal. That's what we want. Again, so bit of progress. I'm going to file and save now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sort out the health of the shark. So when he eats fish, the health goes up. When he hits plastic, the health goes down. So we're going to go back onto the shark because this is all to do with the shark's health. I'm just going to zoom back out a little bit just so we can see a bit more. So we've got this big block here that starts when the green flag is clicked. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the shark being healthy. So we're going to set his health to 20 as a starting number. Remember, make sure A, it's set from that variable one, and it's health, not score or anything else. It should be one of the only options in there, so it should be there. So we've done that, and then what we need to do is we've got this bit, if the mouse is down, we're going to move right and left. And what we need to do is say if the health is less than 0. So if the health get down so far, if it goes either 0 or -1 or -2 or whatever, then the game stops. So we're going to put another if block in here to say if, and you can see it's below this mouse X and Y one. So if the health gets less than, so I need a less than symbol. And if it gets less than 0, so let's put 0 in that second part. And then what we need to put in this first part is the health. So we need, if the health is less than 0, what we need to do is stop everything. So the game is over. So I'm going to need to control. And then towards the bottom, it's about 4 up, is that stop all one. So pop that in there. So that's all good. Now what we need to do is say if the plastic, so we're going to go back to the plastic, if the plastic touches the shark, we need to take some off the health, okay? So so in this bit here, where it says repeat until it gets to the bottom, we can put another if in there. Ooh, sorry, not the if else, we just need if. Okay. And what we need to put in there is if it's touching, so if this bit of plastic touches the shark, so I'm going to do touching, and then I'm going to choose, not the mouse pointer, I'm going to touch the shark. Then what I want to do is I want to take some points off the health. So I'm going to change, not set, change the health by -5. So take 5 points off health. And I also need to delete the clone. So I'm going to go back to control, scroll down to the bottom and delete this clone. So it should, once it's touched the shark, it shouldn't stay there. It should disappear and then go, reappear at some point in the future. Okay, so that's that bit done. Just save my project again. It's always best to keep on saving as you go through. So now let's add a fish to our program. So I'm going to go hover over the sprite bit at the bottom. In fact, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to choose animals, and I'm going to have a look for a fish. So let's choose this fish down here. Now, this fish one here has got 4 costumes, which is ideal because we've got some code with the plastic one that has got 4 costumes as well. And we want our fish to work pretty much exactly the same as the plastic. It starts at the top and moves down towards the bottom at random speeds, at random times. But the difference is, rather than taking away from the health, it adds to the health. So basically, all of this code that we've got here can be on the fish as well. So I'm going to do something really easy here. I'm going to drag. So I'm on the plastic, and grab this block here first and drag it over to the fish. And can you see that? So when I dragged it over, fish goes blue and wobbles a little bit to say that it's selected. And if I let go, you see, wobbles. If I let go there, now if I go to the fish, I've got that bit of code there for it. So I need to do that with the other bit of one from the plastic as well. So I'm back on the plastic. I'm going to drag this one that says when I started a clone. I'm going to drop it. It wobbles, the fish wobbles, let go. And now I've got both bits of code in my fish, which is ideal. I don't have to recreate all of that. All I need to do now is the bit that I said a second ago, which is that rather than when it touches the shark, it taking points off, you want it to add health. So maybe it adds 1 or maybe 2 points to your health. It's up to you. So you can pick this as a game. So I'm going to add 1 to the health when you get a fish. Okay. And then the final thing is the fish is pointing the wrong way at the moment, and it's a bit big for my liking. So here, down by the sprite, I've got the fish selected. I click on direction, and I can move that around until it points down. Okay. You can type it in here and say minus 180. Sorry, not minus, just 180. And for size, 100, remember, is the full size. I'm going to make it maybe 80. So what that size? Do you know what? I think it could be a bit smaller. So maybe 60. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. So that should be working now. Let's have a look. So the green flag, you see the fish actually create random versions of themselves because they've got those different costumes. Plastic all creates different versions of itself. So we've now got a really good game. The only thing I would say is I want to go back, go to variables, and I want to put the tick next to health, because what I want to do is be able to see how well I'm doing in the game. Have I nearly lost or whatever? Okay. And that's all we're going to do for this game so far for today. Okay. So I'm going to click on File and Save. But the key thing I need to do is I need to share this. So I'm going to click on Share. Now you should get the green bar at the top saying congratulations sharing. And then what I would like you to do is click Add to Studio and do the Save to Sharp Pupil Files. And hit OK. That shares it with me. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure you can do things to this game to adjust it and make it better. You might like some things. You might want less fish to appear or more plastics to appear or fish to be worth more points, whatever it is. So you can pick and adjust this game, but it gives you that starter point. So hopefully you've really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see the games that you've made and have a play with them. See you again soon.